Well, fun fact, before we discuss the house, it was the location of the original Mad Max film. It was Max's house in 1979 on the same spot. The house has changed a little from Max's shack. Yeah, it was just a nice little link of Australian screen culture that is taking place right there.
What is Summer Love about?
Summer Love is an anthology series set in a holiday house, and each episode, a different set of visitors hire the house and they experience some iteration of love.
We found something in the pouch. Yes. So what do we do? Right. Keep it warm and dry. Gotcha. Okay, sure. And of course we'll feed it. No, of course not. That's what I meant. No food at all. Okay. What happens now? Do you guys do like a click and collect or?
And can you also talk about the kind of, setup of the series, having different writers involved, different cast involved for each of the episodes?
We've written one of them to kind of set the tone, as it were, and then we invited 7 other writers or writing teams to come on board.
It was a COVID lockdown developed project, as was everything else in the universe in the last 2 years. But it was, which is why we sort of came up with the idea of the holiday house and love and warmth and hope and all those things that we were all aspiring
basically get us out of here, make us feel like this was the remit for the show.
But it was at the time too where there was the big conversation in 2020 about diversity, and Wayne and I had a really kind of big conversation with each other to say, well, how do we authentically get other voices into our work? It's really hard when we develop and create most of the work. How do you bring someone else's perspective? And so this holiday house idea was a really genuinely authentic way to do that, and a fascinating idea for us.
Yeah, obviously. No, that's cool. That's so cool.
And how did you go about kind of, reaching out to the writers who did get involved?
Just money.
Yeah, money.
Yeah.
Just cold hard cash. Just briefcases. No, we went to the writers before we pitched to a network. So we wanted to really, which we often do, we kind of try and develop the idea as much as we can and really make sure that we want to, live with something for several years. So we thought it gave a better picture of what the anthology series was like if you had the writers attached, because then you go, oh, okay, there's Nazeem Hussain and Miranda Tapsell and Patrick Bramall, and you can kind of get a feeling based on those voices, and for a network to go, well, we know their other work, so it's going to feel like this. So
you're almost casting the show with the writers, like you do with actors. You're almost casting it. And we talked to a lot of people and heard what they might be interested in talking about. Nazeem Hussain, when we had a chat with him, one of his first sort of perspectives about the beach was that, that is a white person thing. Like people from the subcontinent don't do the beach. He said, I remember the first time my whole family went to the beach, we all piled out of this 2 carloads of people, and we all had sort of curry and these big pots of curry on the beach. We're standing there eating curry and they're looking around. He's going, I'm really sure this is not what we're supposed to be doing on the beach.
Pack it up, we're wrong.
And it made us laugh and lean in so much that when we were just so interested, go, let's tell that story.
I don't expect you to understand because it's a cultural thing.
Oh.
She wouldn't get it.
Yeah.
How difficult was it finding the location for the house?
The house that we found was on the first recce. It was bizarrely the first place we went on the first recce. And on pictures, we thought, oh, no, that's not quite right. We didn't think it was a front runner, but we walked in and there's this floor to ceiling glass that just, you walk up the stairs, and everybody that walks in this house just walks up the stairs and goes, oh my God, and just walks towards this glass. And the view of, there's a 180-degree view of the sea, and it is astonishing. And we knew when we walked in there that mood, that thing, people stop talking, they just go and stand and stare, which when you go on a holiday and you want that vista, you want that place of contemplation that's kind of perfect. So we really felt strongly that this is a magnificent location.
With so much glass in this location, did that make it difficult at all with things like glare in terms of shooting?
We are still digitally rubbing shit out 8 months later in post. Yeah,
it looks good on paper, doesn't it?
Yeah. Look, it's
shooting in Holiday House.
Incredible challenges lighting wise. You've got people standing in front of this huge panes of glass, and you've got that indoor-outdoor exposure thing. So we stylistically decided to lean into that and not overly light the inside of the house, just to let natural light. We kind of had to. The alternative was it would just be so bright inside that.
Well, also the other problem you're faced with is that the weather changes so dramatically there. It can be absolutely bright blue, sunny sky, and then 15 minutes later, it's just this grey, because it's so ferociously fast, isn't it? It rolls along there. So you could be set up for lighting for one thing, and then it would be changed in 15 minutes. So we were a little held hostage to natural surroundings, weren't we?
The thing is, it's completely unacceptable. I don't understand how this could have happened.
What do you hope that audiences take away watching the series?
I hope they take away the two things that we really wanted, we set out to make, was a feeling of hope and warmth, and a feeling of, that's something to look forward to, summer and love, but also a feeling of, I didn't know that was how somebody felt, or that's what life was like for somebody. I would love just to have a little feeling of that's what it's like to walk in someone else's shoes for just a minute, without forcing anything down anybody's throat. It's not a message show at all, but it's a feeling, that's interesting. I didn't know that. That would be really great, I think.
And for them to watch the following week.
That would be also good.